Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Take a Three podcast. My name is Brandon, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Alex. And in this today's episode, it's a Tuesday afternoon, just off of a Monday Night Football. Another interesting week, as in week 4 in the NFL. We had quite a few interesting games on the Sunday. I was really high on the Lions, and the Bears kind of came out, did their thing. Washington football team and the Falcons kind of put on a hell of a game. I caught it became a game again, and I caught the last little bit of that with Taylor Heineke doing his thing, hitting McKisnick with a Madden, throw it across the field, and then they eventually scored, and just the Falcons find a way to Falcon again. Going into the afternoon, I mean, the Bills dominate the Texans. We had some interesting Dallas, Carolina was very good. Obviously, the Saints dudded up again, find a way to lose them and the Titans, to be honest. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on with that. Chiefs, they kind of get their offense back in business. Defense, not very impressive, I would say. You look at the LA Rams and the Cardinals, super interesting. Baltimore came out, took care of business. You had another NFC West 49ers Seahawks. So there's a lot of stuff going on in week 4, where it was kind of a week where some matchups that were garbage on paper turned out to be good. And then kind of the games that we expected to be the top games of the week really showed out and proved their worth. So, I mean, before I jump into anything on the docket, how are you feeling about week 4?
Yeah, came back down to earth, picking the spread, not a hot week. I thought we learned a bit about Baltimore, Arizona, and Dallas. I'm like really high on those teams now. They look very, very good. And then we had a fun Sunday night game. It wasn't like a ton of points, but it was competitive. And Tom Brady barely escaped with a W. So that'll be fun to talk about.
Yeah, we'll kind of work our way backwards. I wanted to start with Monday Night Football. It's not in the graphic, but obviously last night it was the first place Las Vegas Raiders going on the road to face the Chargers, 3-0 versus 2-1. Super interesting matchup. It was kind of really a benchmark for everybody to see, hey, are the Raiders legit? Like, is this a team that we should really focus on in the AFC? And then they kind of came back down to earth. Credit to the defense, Joey Bosa, man, those guys were getting after Derek Carr all night. We really saw that they really couldn't slice people. He wasn't slicing up the defense like he did. Obviously, late turnover interception to, I believe it was Derwin James, that kind of sealed the deal. But it just looked like the Raiders offense kind of got back to a level where we thought the O-line getting beat up with the Chargers pass rush. Brandon Staley showing this is why the Chargers brought me in. Like, this is the Rams are kind of missing this. We saw the Rams defense not look that good on Sunday afternoons. And Justin Herbert, once again, I mean, he kind of shows, hey, I'm probably arguably could be the best quarterback drafted last year. Dolphins might be sitting there like, damn, we really picked this guy from Alabama with one plastic hip over this guy that they called weird. And the weirdo is kind of doing his thing. Another 3 touchdowns. He always has control of the game. I love watching him back there. He's always in full control. There's never a moment where I think, hey, like he's out of it. And then Austin Eckler obviously did his thing, 15 carries, about 17. Were you surprised by this result, I should say? Did you kind of expect the Raiders maybe to put up a little bit better a fight? It was 21-0 at half. It was kind of the old Madden skunk rule at half. Raiders kind of made a game of it, but there was never really a point where, even though the Raiders kind of had that momentum, even though it felt like a Raiders home game too, it was crazy listening to the crowd. Were you surprised, or was this kind of the expected? Did you expect the Chargers to kind of control this game and do their thing and end up with the W?
Yeah, I thought the Chargers were going to do their thing and end up with the W for sure, but I was definitely surprised at the Raiders' performance. Their first half was just pretty abysmal, honestly. They couldn't get anything going offensively. Derek Carr had like 60 passing yards, something very small. And just based off the Raiders of the first 3 weeks, they beat Baltimore in overtime and Miami in overtime. The offense has just been humming. Derek Carr hadn't thrown for under 300, I think. And then he went for 196 under 200. So I was pretty surprised about that. I expected more out of the Raiders offense in general. And then for the Chargers, they did their thing. Justin Herbert is so good. He's so fun to watch. He was 175 yards and 3 touchdowns heading into half, 21-0 lead. And he only threw for 47 yards in the second half because that's all he had to do. Austin Eckler, 7.8 yards a carry. This Chargers team's legit in every facet. We've been saying it since the preview. A very impressive Chiefs win. Now they go and beat the Raiders. And the Raiders come back down to earth. They're 3-1. They could very easily be 1-3 or 2-2 based off those 2 overtime wins they had. So maybe the Raiders are closer to a 500 team than an above 500 team. We're going to find out later down the road. But nothing but impressive things from Justin Herbert and the Chargers through a month of the season. And their one loss against Dallas was very close, so they could easily be 4-0. Nothing but like praise for Herbert and the Chargers.
Yeah, the Chargers look like a legit force. Obviously, they'll have to crack the Mahomes code twice if they face the Bills in the playoffs. They'll have to crack that Josh Allen code. But I mean, they look like everything we kind of expected them to be. Now that the defense is kind of staying healthy, Joey Bosa's out there, Derwin James is out there. Those guys are flying around. And the Raiders, I mean, you can't. They've got to find a way. I know they got rid of the entire O line, but they have got to find a way to get Josh Jacobs going, get Kenyon Drake going, and just possess the football. This gunslinger mentality, this old like Mike Leach, Texas Tech, Washington State air raid, where you're just gonna just throw it all the time. It's like I don't think it gets the job done. It's gonna put your defense back out there, and they have to find a way to just possess the ball and just have better play calls overall. I think at one point last night I saw it was like they went for it on 4th and 2 just to throw a check down to Josh Jacobs and just get wrapped up in the backfield. It's like I don't understand. John Gruden, this supposed offensive genius, should be able to figure it out. I mean, he made all these moves right to kind of trade away the O line. It's kind of he has full control of the organization. We got to see they've got to be able to run the ball. They can't really. We saw last year the defense wasn't really amazing. Their defense is it plays good in spots, but I think they can't really put it all on Derek Carr because we saw last night. I mean, Derek Carr goes up against I would say a top unit when they're humming at their best, and we saw that he really wasn't slicing them up like he was through the first 3 weeks of the season where he had 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks. He really brought that down to earth. So, yeah, we got to see. I mean, I agree the Raiders could easily be a 1-3 or a 500 squad. And we will start to, I think personally, we'll start to see them kind of unravel. We saw it in the Dolphins game against Jacoby Brissett. Like the way they play is not, I don't think it's sustainable.
Yeah, I would agree. We also saw it week 1 against Baltimore, the whole fourth quarter in overtime. Baltimore's defense was clearly gassed, and that's when the Raiders offense really got going. One last note on the Chargers about how impressive they were. The 7.8 yards a carry for Eckler on the ground, extremely impressive. But what I really liked in the first half for Herbert when he threw for 175 and 3 was that most of the yards, the first 3 games, it was Mike Williams and Keenan Allen really dominating. We got Jared Cook, Donald Parham touchdown. It wasn't all Mike Williams and Keenan Allen in the passing game, which I think just would instill more confidence moving forward, because that means if those guys are getting locked down or they're not ready to go, he just spreads the ball around so well. So it's like it's hard not to be just ecstatic about the Chargers offense.
Yeah, they're another team with so many weapons. The throw to the touchdown to Jared Cook was just a tight window, hell of a throw in the red zone. It's yeah, I mean the Chargers, they're in business, man. I think they're a legit team that you got to start taking seriously in the AFC if you're looking at the landscape of this thing down the road. Just to move us forward, we'll go in straight into Sunday night. I mean, that was kind of the game of the day. It was Tom Brady returning to Foxborough. It was kind of it was a hell of a scene. It kind of fit it perfectly, like that Bill Belichick, the evil genius, is sitting out there in the pouring rain in Foxborough. Tom Brady comes back. The whole night had the hood up, man. He just looked like diabolical, like he was ready to face this man and shut this man down. And to be quite honest, Bill Belichick's defense and his son's defense, Steve Belichick, is they said he calls the plays. Had Tom Brady in a duffel bag, to be honest. He had him bottled up. It looked like he knew the whole time. I mean, Tom Brady, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but it just seemed like he was never comfortable back there. It seemed like Bill Belichick at in every avenue, he had an answer for everything that the Buccaneers were ready to throw out. Obviously, the Buccaneers escape 19-17. I mean, I guess good news for the Bucks is they kind of got the running game going. Playoff Lenny went for 20 carries, 91 yards. So it's kind of interesting, but I think kind of AB came back, but I think in a sense, Tom Brady kind of missed Gronk, right? Like Gronk's that reliable guy. He always knows where Gronk's going to be. Gronk always knows where to be. And it's kind of, you see that, but I mean, I got to give credit to on the other side, Mac Jones looked like he's the real deal. Like he looked like he was ready. That man, for a rookie quarterback to sit in there, and he was sitting in the pocket all night, taking chops, taking hits, and just finding a way to continue to complete passes. Buccaneers secondaries depleted, beat up. I was kind of hoping Josh McDaniels would call a double move at one point to just burn Richard Sherman, because Richard Sherman, it's interesting. The Bucks, they're running that cover 3, but they also, it's not similar. It's not the same as the Seahawks cover 3 with Richard Sherman, where he would just play that sideline. The Bucks have him coming in and covering the dig. So if you hit him with one sluggo, he's probably gone for an easy touchdown. What'd you see on Sunday Night Football? It was an interesting game. And were you, I guess this last question, were you surprised that Bill Belichick maybe didn't get his kicker a little bit closer in the pouring rain? It was a 56-yarder. I thought they'd go for it. It was like 4th and 2. Maybe try to get another little bit of yards to get him in range. They had one timeout in the bag. I thought it was a little interesting. He had the leg, but maybe if it wasn't raining.
Yeah, I agree. I think in the past, Bill makes a smart move and picks up a couple more yards. Maybe if Tom Brady was his quarterback still, I think he would. I think a lot of it really does have to do that he not that it's Mac Jones specifically, but the fact that it's a rookie as his quarterback, he doesn't want to lose a game on that scenario. I mean, that's a tough kick to make, 56 yards in the pouring rain. He's got to make it though. Like, oh man, I'm sure Bill wanted this win really bad. But he had the defense humming, and Mac Jones looked really good. For a team that was supposed to be two tight end sets and like Damian Harris running it, they haven't figured out the run game at all. It's been bad. Damian Harris had 4 rushes for -4 yards. Mac Jones did a good job controlling the offense still. 31 of 40, 275. He had it going, and they seemed to click when they just kind of went 5 wide and made like really easy reads for Mac Jones, and it worked well for him. And then on the other end for the Buccaneers, I was just impressed with the Patriots defense. Like it's Tom Brady and they know him. Bill Belichick knows him well, and he did a really good job, him and Steven calling the game, because they did have Brady in a duffel bag for most of it. And I would agree. I think he missed Gronkowski like in the fourth quarter in the big moments, and they really needed big plays where he always turns to Gronk. I think he missed him. The last drive for Tampa Bay ended in a field goal, and AB had multiple drop passes, one in the end zone. And yeah, they're really hard. Those were tough catches to make, but it was uncharacteristic. And then in the first half, Tom Brady had some easy throws, just missed to AB as well with the pouring rain, the sideline. Once again, those aren't easy to make considering the conditions and everything. But if we're talking about Tom Brady and Antonio Brown, they got to get it done. I would assume that they get Gronk healthy. I think he's going to miss a few weeks, but once he's back, the offense should get humming. I was just impressed with the Patriots as a whole. I think they probably should have won that football game. I was rooting for them to win that game. It just kind of slipped away. I thought they'd get closer, but I think a lot of it had to do with just Mac Jones and being a rookie. But for the team and where they're at, I thought they played really well. There's no moral victories in professional sports, right? But, I mean, that's like the best a loss can look for you.
There's no moral victories of Bill Belichick. I can guarantee he's not coming into the office Monday morning and saying, yeah, at least we played a competitive game.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, he wanted to beat Tom Brady. Honestly, I don't really mind them not running the ball. We saw week 1 with Dallas. Like, there's no point in running the ball straight into the strength of the Buccaneers. Like, the best part of that Buccaneers defense right now is that front four. Their secondary has guys that were flipping tires at Sam's Club last week playing out there. Richard Sherman clearly couldn't cover anybody. Like, I didn't mind really that game plan. I can agree that, yeah, if he didn't have Mac Jones, if it was Tom Brady, maybe he says, yeah, we're going to go for it, pick up some more yards. But I mean, I loved everything I saw out of Mac Jones. And yeah, to your point with AB, yeah, I think the last drive he whiffed on 2. Brady he got his head turned around. Brady put it right where it needed to be, and AB just kind of didn't make a play that you maybe see somebody like Gronk, if he's out there, know where the ball is going to be, and turn around and make the catch. But yeah, I mean, it was a great game. It was kind of a game I didn't see coming. Obviously, in the lead up to it, I took Bucks -7. I thought Tom Brady would come out and just do his thing. But I mean, I think in the first half, you kind of saw, I don't know if it was the rain, but I mean, Tom Brady's played in the worst weather, right? He's played in the snow. So I think there was a little bit of nerves, to be honest. I think he was really kind of trying to put some extra on the passes, kind of just get the ball there. I saw one on the first drive sail. There was I think for him, there was nerves going back to Foxborough as a visitor. It's kind of a weird spot that even if you're ultimately prepared, I think when you take that field, you can't really simulate being on that field as in a Buccaneers uniform when you've played 20 years with the Patriots. I think there was a little bit of that. It was an interesting game. I think the Patriots, they shouldn't really look down on themselves. They're in a weird spot too, right? Being a 1-3 club right now, but they don't feel like a 1-3 club. They're better than that. And I think Mac Jones, if he just continues to get better every week, and I think by the end of the year going into next year, they could really be ready to get things going. Just close losses. I mean, it happens in the league, and that's kind of what separates you at the end of the day. Going back after, you have another point? Or
I was just going to say, yeah, to the close losses, it's just good for Mac Jones in the future, because like they probably should beat the Patriots at the kick, and then they probably should beat the Dolphins, the Damian Harris fumble. So it's just nothing but good things to build on. Yeah, it's not what you want right now, and you're probably frustrated going back into the building today because you're a 1-win team. But for the long term, if there's a lot of good to build on.
Yeah, shit happens in the league. Little late afternoon action. We had Baltimore went on the road to Denver, kind of like Kind of disappointing. Like Teddy Bridgewater got hurt, concussion, didn't play. So Drew Lock kind of got thrusted in with, obviously he didn't practice with the ones, wasn't prepared to really play. And the Ravens kind of had their way. They did their thing 20-7. I think the final score was 21-7. They kind of just controlled the game. Lamar Jackson, when he hit Hollywood, was probably the best throw as an NFL quarterback that I've seen Lamar Jackson make. If I'm being honest, I don't think I've seen him really step up. It just felt natural for a guy that I've often said it feels like he aims the ball when he's throwing, which you can't really do in the NFL. Just let the thing go. Like, you got the arm. We know you have the arm. I just let the thing sling. And, I mean, he let it rip. Hollywood drop passes last week. Didn't happen that time. He lays out, makes the catch. I don't really want to give this one too much time because there's a better one at 4:05 with the Cardinals and the Rams. But anything here or the Broncos? We kind of see the Broncos. It's hard to judge them because Teddy Bridgewater went out, but I mean, it's a good win for the Ravens to go on the road to Mile High and pick that one up.
Yeah, I don't really want to speak on the Broncos because Teddy got hurt, and that changes like the whole feel of the game for Denver's side. But I will say for Baltimore, I've been nothing but impressed this season. 3-1, one overtime loss. And if Baltimore is going to win games because Lamar Jackson's throwing for 300 yards instead of rushing for like 150, they're in a really good spot. Because there's nothing but everybody has great things to say about Lamar, but it's always a criticism of the passing game. But like I said in the preview and like leading into the season, if the passing game is going to improve and Lamar is going to be really efficient, really good, like they're only going to get better and better and better from year in and year out. And like I've been nothing but really encouraged from Baltimore this season. They went into Denver and had a really good win.
Exactly. I will circle back to 49ers and Seahawks. We'll talk about as we're kind of wrapping up. We'll cover some other games throughout the league. Big one, though, 4:05 was the Cardinals going on the road to LA to face the Rams, one that we kind of felt would be close. I was kind of on the Rams side. I thought their defense would do their thing. Matt Stafford would get it going and kind of do his thing. And then what do we see? Kind of really the opposite. Kyler Murray sat back there, cool, calm, collected, and balled out. Chase Edmonds, 12 carries, 120. It just seemed like it was the Cardinals' day. It seemed like from the jump, the Cardinals just had their way. It really wasn't Kyler with the legs this week, only 6 carries, 39 yards. They didn't do a lot of scrambling. He kind of just deciphered, picked them apart in the pocket. It was weird to watch. I did not expect that result for the Cardinals to kind of come in and win by 17 points on the road in LA. It'll be interesting to see the rematch in Arizona. But yeah, how are you feeling after that? Are the Cardinals, are they the real deal, or are the Rams are the Rams still the team to beat in the NFC West?
The Cardinals are the real deal. I don't want to take any credit away from them. They played well. They went to LA, won division game. I still think the Rams are the best team in the NFC West at this point. I just like them moving forward. And once again, I'm worried about Kyler lasting the entire season because last year he looked really good the first 8 weeks as well, and then it kind of teetered off. So I'm worried about that in the long run. But yeah, give Arizona credit. They came out and played really well. Forced turnovers. And I did think the Rams had a couple uncharacteristic plays like that deep pass to Deshaun Jackson that was picked off in, I think, the first or second quarter. And then there was a run by Sony Michel that looked like a standard inside run. And then all of a sudden the D linemen for the Cardinals have the ball because I think the helmet hit the ball and it got popped up right into Arizona's hands. So there's a couple key like turnovers like that I don't really expect the Rams to make every time. When they play again, I don't think they'll make those same mistakes. So got to give Arizona credit. Kyler's been really good. I'm just worried about them in the long run. So, like, I want to see him do it consistently for more than just a couple months. I want to see it for a full season just because, I mean, Kyler's young too, so he hasn't had a ton of opportunity to do that yet. But so far, we haven't seen that. Arizona, nothing but praise, 4-0. The last undefeated team, I would not have guessed that. But I like the Rams a lot. I just think this was two good teams. Rams made some more mistakes. When they rematch, I don't know. I think it could go either way again.
Yeah, Kyler was he was surgical, and they also had the 2 running backs. James Conner did put up the yards, but he punched in 2 touchdowns, and so it seemed like the veterans, right? AJ Green gets a touchdown, Max Williams, so it really wasn't Hopkins, Rondale Moore, and Christian Kirk, kind of the studs. It was really the unsung guys, the guys you really don't think about to put up the touchdowns. Before I move on from this, where would you really put the Cardinals in the pecking order of the NFC? Now they're 4-0. You got the Bucks, Packers, also the Rams. Where would you kind of slot the Cardinals into that category?
I'm not gonna lie, it does feel disrespectful for me to put the Rams right above them, considering they just beat up on the Rams. But I still like the Rams a little bit more, the Bucks, and then I would put them right 3, 4, like they're right there with Green Bay to me at this point. because I don't really see any other teams hopping those teams.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Just for the time being, I'll put Arizona ahead of LA. They played head to head, and one team kind of dominated. So at this point in time, I'll kind of give the Cardinals the nod. It's kind of like a 2A, 2B thing. I still am not really going to this point, pick anybody over Tom Brady and Tampa Bay. I think they'll eventually figure it out until, so I'll keep riding with them, obviously, at the top of the chart until they kind of the wheels fall off. We kind of see them kind of teetering, but not so. But yeah, I think definitely they're right in there. You could flip flop either of those. They're a super interesting team. They're kind of, I did not expect them to be 4-0, but I'm definitely on the same boat. It's hard for me to kind of put them as the favorite because they could fizzle out at any time. Going into the season, I didn't know how much I trusted Cliff Kingsbury, and yeah, he's kind of he's a week to week thing. We'll see if they keep looking this dynamic though. They're scary.
Very, very scary. And one last question for you about them, just for fun. They're 4-0, last undefeated team. When do you think they lose their first game? I'll give you a quick preview of their next four: Niners, then Browns, then Texans, then Packers.
Where's the Browns game at?
Cleveland.
Yeah, I'll go. They lose. They don't lose this week. They lose to the Browns. I think coming off a division game at home, go on the road, play the Browns. Yeah, I think the Browns knock them off if I had to guess.
Yeah, I like that. That'd put them at 5-1.
Yeah. I was gonna say BC. Yeah, I mean, if they win that game, they got a Houston game. That's basically a bye week, and then they play the Packers on a Sunday night game. It looks like a Sunday night game.
Yeah, in Arizona.
Yeah, in the desert on it says we got to see. But yeah, I mean, if I had to pick now, I'd say they lose the Browns game coming off a division W against the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That was my guess as well.
Yeah, facts. Just really last like game to really cover in full in depth before we kind of just jump around with some other stuff that went on. We had Cowboys, Panthers. It was weird that the Cowboys didn't get America's game of the week. Obviously, they went with the NFC West battle between the Cards and the Rams, but it was super interesting. It was kind of the game where going into it, the preview, I said, we'll see, like it'll come down to what quarterback will turn the ball over. Will Sam Darnold kind of revert to his old self and kind of turn the football over like he's playing for the Jets again? And in the second half, the third quarter, we kind of really saw it unravel. It looked like Carolina was in complete control. Like the defense was humming. They were doing everything. They kind of had the Cowboys bottled up. Sam Darnold ran for 2 touchdowns in the first half. Weird to see him run for 2 touchdowns, but it just seemed like everything was clicking. And then coming out of the second half, the Cowboys poured it on a 20-0 third quarter. Really put the Cowboys ahead. Panthers made a little run at the end, but I think too many mistakes were already made, and kind of Sam Darnold was already, it's kind of just like garbage time stats, right? Like you throw, you're going to get some, they're playing soft coverage, weird ass stuff with Mike McCarthy pulling Trayvon Diggs for load management in week 4 when he had 2 picks on the day. It's like, I've never seen that before in NFL football. That was, it was so odd, but I was impressed with the Cowboys again. The offense did their thing. They have so many weapons. Their running game again. We kind of saw what I highlighted in the preview is I didn't know how good the Panthers run defense really was because they didn't really play anybody. They go up against a legit 2-back rushing attack. Zeke has 20 for $143 and a touchdown. Pollard has 10 for 67. So we kind of saw that defense get chewed up, but they were still good through the air. I mean, they threw 4 touchdowns. Dak threw 4 touchdowns, but it was only $188. So it's not like they were getting gashed through the air. It was really Dak making plays in the red zone, and he did hit Amari, I believe, for the one deep ball. But yeah, I think we got to start buying Cowboys stock, to be honest. It hates to say this, but yeah, how'd you feel about that? The Panthers kind of came back down to earth, at least on the offensive side.
Yeah, I agree. And I'd hate to admit it, but I'm very impressed with the Dallas Cowboys. The run game was extremely efficient. They had basically 2 rushers average 7 yards a carry. Tony Pollard 6.7, Zeke 7.2. Extremely impressive game. Dak was very efficient in the air. And I was disappointed with the Panthers' run D. Like, yes, their first 3 opponents weren't very good, so I didn't expect them to keep the same numbers and just straight up stop them or be dominant. But you can't allow 2 runners to average 7 yards a carry on you, and they got 30 touches between the 2 of them. You're gonna get eaten up if that happens. So I was pretty disappointed with the Panthers' run defense, to be honest. There's still plenty of encouraging things for Carolina. They're 3-1. They've been impressive so far on the season, but Sam Darnold just kind of had some lapse of judgment in the third quarter. He threw those interceptions. Dallas went 20-0 in the third. Carolina just gave him too many possessions. But yeah, Dallas's defense also got to give them credit for the interceptions. They've forced them. And this is another week where Dallas looks good defensively and gets multiple turnovers. So if Dallas is going to do that regularly, maybe they should be in the conversation with Arizona that we were just talking about. We'll see. It's still early, right? But they have all that potential and they look damn good. Yeah, I'm still encouraged by Sam Darnold. This is clearly the best season of his career. It's short so far, but it clearly is. And a few laps of judgments, a few errors, but there's stuff to build on for Carolina. I was mainly just disappointed in their run defense. I wasn't expecting them to be like the Buccaneers and straight up stop them, but I expected a better performance from them.
Yeah, I would really I think it was the first interception was really on him, bad throw. The second interception was just a hell of a play by Trayvon Diggs. He ripped the ball out of, I forget whose hands it was, but he really he
I think it
made
was
a play.
DJ.
Yeah, there's some times where the corner or the defensive back, he just makes a play, right? Like there's bad throws and then there's plays that are made. But yeah, I mean, I was encouraged. I guess I could say I was encouraged by Sam Darnold, not kind of being stuck, right? He threw those two picks, kind of got him out of the game. And then he still battled them back. Fourth quarter was they turned it around 14-3 on the scoreboard to kind of bring them back in the game. So, I mean, although he made those mistakes, he got to clean those up. He was sacked 5 times too. So the offensive line kind of has to be better. But yeah, I mean, the Cowboys look like the Cowboys of Zeke's rookie year, right? Pounding the rock, smart throws, keeping the quarterback clean. Dak didn't get sacked one time. And yeah, the defense, once again, 2 turnovers and 5 sacks. Like if they're going to be able to continue that output on a week-to-week basis, they're kind of a legitimate contender. I don't really say a dark horse anymore. They're a legitimate contender. I mean, we saw them. We're pegging Tampa Bay at the top of the crop, and we saw them be really a possession away from beating Tampa Bay, or not giving Tom Brady the ball back, away from beating the Bucks on opening night. So I think the Cowboys, it's time to start taking them seriously. And it's scary to say. We'll see. Once again, I don't know how many weeks the amount of turnovers they're forcing is sustainable, but to this point, Dan Quinn deserves probably, if there was a defensive coordinator of the year award, I would say he definitely deserves it. The way he's dialing up the pressures, the stuff that really wasn't there last year is there. And I think definitely the Panthers miss McCaffrey as well. I said it in the preview. It would be a little bit more interesting if Quinn had to dial up and scheme up for Christian McCaffrey, either out of the backfield or just running the ball. He's a little bit better than Chuba Hubbard. But,
oh yeah, definitely. They definitely miss him. And I got one more comment about this game. How good is DJ Moore? I'm so impressed with him. 24 years old. He went for just under 1,200 yards the last 2 years, and he's got the potential to be the best receiver in the league in like 3-4 seasons when he's like 27, 28. He's just so good. He's so impressive. Outside, inside, doesn't matter who's covering him. He gets open. Like nothing but high praise for DJ Moore.
DJ Moore, yeah, he's the whole package. He's got the speed, he's got the hands, which he has shown off, and it's just it's weird to see. I kind of expected Sam Darnold and Robbie Anderson to really be the connection, because from the Jets days, it was arguably his best target there. But to this point, we've seen him and DJ Moore have kind of built that chemistry up, and he's balling out. It's super good to see. It's got to be encouraging if you're a Panthers fan. Just moving around. I mean, Saints. Jameis Winston wasn't terrible, but the Saints find a way to lose in overtime. Bad loss to the Giants. We always got to check in each week on the Winston wagon. I mean, yeah, how do you feel? What are the Saints now? 2-2 through 4 games?
Yeah, 2-2, on pace for 500. This was a pretty disappointing loss. They had no business losing to the New York Giants at home. I think it was the first game in the Superdome and like with fans since I think they lost that playoff game a little while ago. But it was just disappointing. New Orleans had no business losing that game. And yeah, Jameis isn't throwing a ton of interceptions just as nice, but they're also not like, it's not exactly a vertical offense and letting him rip. Alvin Kamara, 26 carries. Taysom Hill got 2 touchdowns on the ground. I don't know. The passing game was better, but that's an inexcusable loss for New Orleans. You cannot lose to the Giants at home.
Yeah, you cannot be losing to you can't be losing to the Giants. I don't know how you're getting to 12 wins if you're losing to the Giants at home opening game at the Superdome. That's kind of, I don't know. They're kind of, that offensive philosophy as of right now it's still confusing. It's interesting, but I mean, they're making Alvin Kamara work for his bread. So I guess he's happy. Another interesting one, Jets, Zach Wilson kind of put it together at the end, steal one from the Titans. I believe that was in overtime as well. Yeah, the Titans missed a field goal, if I'm not mistaken, to To cost that, obviously the Titans. I mean, if I could have went back and did the pick, I might have picked the Jets to cover. Now that I knew every receiver on the team was out, AJ Brown didn't play, Julio Jones didn't play. That kind of sucks when you do picks on Wednesday or Tuesday night and then find out Thursday that that went down. But I mean, yeah, how do we feel? Robert Saleh first W, Zach Wilson first W. Titans kind of even without those receivers, you still kind of expect to find a way to beat the Jets.
Yeah, the Titans, I mean, even with the injuries, it's still disappointing. You shouldn't be losing to the Jets. They're just a better team. But hey, congrats to the Jets and Zach Wilson looking like a real NFL quarterback. They looked much better. They got their first win of the year. You know, that's just great momentum and energy for that organization, that team to build on because, like, they got the demon off their back. They finally just won a game. And then shout out to Corey Davis for the long touchdown against his old team, revenge touchdown. So good for him.
Revenge Tutty. That's yeah, that's what it is. Really last one on here. Seahawks 49ers. Seahawks go on the road, steal a W on the road, to be honest. Anytime you get a division W on the road, I'd say it's stealing a W in my eyes. Obviously Jimmy Garoppolo calf injury got hurt. Trey Lance came in and Trey Lance kind of balled. He kind of did his thing. 2 touchdowns, no picks, played a clean game considering I don't really when you look at when the Bears thrusted Justin Fields in with no practice and not really expecting to play, you saw how they struggled, but obviously Kyle Shanahan, a little better offensive mind than Matt Nagy. And yeah, I mean, it seems like it could already be. I mean, Kyle Shanahan says when Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be our starter. But I mean, it's kind of hard to ignore that Trey Lance kind of walked in off the bench cold, gave you 2 touchdowns, and he kind of just gives you everything in that. He opens up the offense, right? With a team that has a depleted backfield. Trey Sermon got it going. I think it was 19 carries for 88 yards, something along those lines. But I mean, good win for the Seahawks. Anything out of that? It might be time to start Trey Lance, to be honest.
Yeah, good win for the Hawks. I don't really have much to say about them, but for the Niners, it might be time to start Trey. He looked good at moments, and then moments it was like a little shaky, but you know, he was just thrown in there, rookie. You can see all the talent. You can see the talent and all the potential. It's there. And then it's exciting because once Trey Lance is like fully adapted in that offense, and he's going to have that offense humming, and they're going to be so damn good. He got a huge touchdown to Deebo Samuel, which was pretty wide open. Any quarterback in the league should make that throw. Defender wasn't even near him at all. But yeah, encouraging things from Trey Lance, and then Trey Sermon finally looked like an NFL running back, averaging just under 5 yards a carry. So encouraging things for the Niners, but I'm sure that's not what they really want to hear. They're 2-2 at the end of the day, and they're expected to be a NFC contender. I thought they were going to be one of the better teams. So the Niners got some work to do. And if Jimmy G's ready to go next week, that might get a little dicey. I don't know. He says Jimmy G's a starter, so it might be just professional for the organization. It might not be a big deal but from the outside looking in, I like Trey Lance. I don't know if that's going to get weird or not for him, but
I know. I'm kind of pissed that I picked the 49ers to be that good. I don't really want to talk about Pittsburgh, Green Bay. It's not really that interesting, but I mean, say Jimmy Garoppolo, I'll just pose this question. So say that Kyle Shanahan decides, yeah, I'm going to go with Trey Lance. Jimmy Garoppolo, you're not the guy. If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, do you call up the 49ers and try to get Jimmy Garoppolo? Like, I think it's about time. We've seen enough of Ben Roethlisberger. I think Jimmy Garoppolo, it's kind of not really a team that's on the radar. I don't think I've heard any like whispers are so attached to Big Ben. But I mean, if you're that Pittsburgh front office, would you be making that phone call if somehow Shanahan switches up?
yeah, probably, because in Pittsburgh's mind, they have a Super Bowl caliber defense, and they're only like a good quarterback and offensive line away from truly competing. I don't know if that's the reality, but that is how they feel for sure. And Big Ben has just been atrocious. There's no other word for it. He's been abysmal, and the offense just has not looked good at all this year. They somehow got a win against the Bills, which is still impressive to think about. Yeah, I mean, as long as I think the only thing for Pittsburgh in that scenario is it's got to be the right price, because you don't want to mortgage the future on a guy that gets hurt every other year as well. But like, you do kind of want to bridge and to just be better, because Ben needs to retire. He shouldn't have come back this season at this point.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting for Pittsburgh because they're never going to be like they're bad right now, but they're going to pick up wins and they're never going to be bad enough to draft like in the top five. Like they're not going to be that bad to get a quarterback. So it's like they're always going to be around there. Yeah, you send a third or a fourth round pick over to San Francisco and get Jimmy Garoppolo. He's probably better than anybody you're going to be able to swing in the third round, fourth round, or even in the second round unless somebody slips to you. It's kind of they're that type of team where they're going to have to make a move for kind of somebody's veteran quarterback that a team doesn't want. And yeah, it's just always interesting. I mean, that's really all I have. That's really all on the docket, to be honest. I mean, Colts, Carson Wentz, I don't know if that deserves any airtime. Obviously, the Browns 14-7 over the Vikings. The Texans, they really unraveled. Like they looked exactly like the team.
That was bad.
Yeah, they look like the team this week that kind of everybody, yeah, this is the Texans team that everybody expected to see. I did not watch, but it's hard to talk about without laughing. And then obviously you mentioned earlier the Chiefs get back in business. Patrick Mahomes 5 touchdowns, threw a pick, but that didn't really matter. There was never a point where they were really in any jeopardy, really anything else before we kind of jump into how we did faring week 4 against the spread. We had another 11-4 picker this week, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy. The only other thing I really have to add about the week was shout out to Joe Burrow and the Bengals for that big Thursday night comeback win. Stayed tough, got in there. That was a good home win. I mean, they played like shit in the first half, and they came out and scored 24-7 in the second half to squeak a 3-point win on a game-winning field goal, game-winning drive. So impressive stuff from Joe in the second half. Terrible first half, but a lot of resilience for this Bengals team. They're better than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, you gotta find a way to gut out W's against a bad team. And yeah, I mean, shout out Columbus. Heard Urban stayed he stayed after for some festivities after the game. Don't really know if that was the right decision. I mean, I think USC might be dialing up the line, but yeah, I won't dive into that. But yeah, shout out Urban. Keep doing your thing, buddy. Let's jump straight across to the spread picks this week. Let me move this guy over here. Yeah, we're kind of everything tightened back up. Like it was like a 4-game lead last week. It's down to 1. John 11-4. Really put it together. We've now seen back to back somebody have an 11-4 week, and it's just interesting to see the standings get swung around. Right, 11-4 from you last week swings back around to 6-9, and all of a sudden it's a 1-game lead over him. And I'm only sitting 2 back. Any games that really kind of like pissed you off at the end of the week where you were like, damn, like I thought this team was set to cover and they just kind of didn't?
Titans -7. I did not know about the injuries, but that is an excuse. Bucks -7, and then the Lions +3. Man, that was disappointing because it was like 14-0 in the first quarter.
Yeah. Lions pissed me off too. Trying to think of because everybody was on the Lions. Like everybody thought, like, dude, the Bears O-line is this bad. Like the Lions, they will lose. Vikings +2 kind of was annoying. I thought the Vikings would show a little bit more on offense at home, but I mean, maybe the Browns came on the road, did what they had to do. Saints kind of annoying. I thought they'd have their way, like in the Superdome. I thought that place would be rocking. I thought they would absolutely just beat up on Danny Dimes, but that kind of didn't happen. And then yeah, I'm right on you with the Titans. Like I didn't know everybody was going to be out, so that kind of put a ruffle in my plans. But I mean, I'll take an 8-7 week. It kind of gets me right back into it. And I know John will take an 11-4 week. It just seemed like, yeah, he knew everything. He knew everything he was doing. It was, imagine if you just pick some of those and put those on an actual betting slip. Yeah, really anything else as we kind of wrap up week 4?
No, I'm just trying to get to 500 on the spread picks, and it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. There's teams that you think will do their thing, and then something happens. Yeah, I'm just glad the Bills minus the 16-point favorite Bills did their thing and ended up. I was like, that was one at the beginning of the week. I was like, I'm not doing the points thing again, and it turned out to be the right move. But I mean, yeah, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. I want to thank everybody for listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you have any suggestions, as we'd love to hear your opinion on what we can do to improve, or just like your overall, your thoughts on what's going on in the league. What you think as everything goes forward. As always, Spotify link will be in the description. If you're audio only, you can go check us out on Spotify and give that a follow and a listen there. And I want to thank everybody for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.